Kody Brown looked directly into the camera during season 20 and said something that should go down in reality television history as one of the most delusional statements ever recorded. He claimed that until his 3 divorces happened, he genuinely believed everybody liked him. He even called himself a guy with potential to be a jerk, as if the previous 19 seasons of Sister Wives had not already confirmed that potential was fully realized years ago. This is a man who watched himself on television for over a decade and somehow missed every single red flag that viewers spotted from episode 1. The audacity of that statement alone tells you everything you need to know about the fortress of denial Kody has constructed around himself. But here is where it gets interesting. Kody has spent the last few years positioning himself as the victim of his family's collapse. According to his version of events, he was a devoted patriarch who got blindsided by ungrateful wives and manipulated children. He wants us to believe he was abandoned, betrayed, and unfairly villainized by people who just could not appreciate everything he sacrificed for them. It is a compelling narrative if you have never actually watched the show, because for those of us who have been paying attention, the receipts tell a completely different story, and those receipts are about to tear his carefully constructed victim narrative apart piece by piece. The timing of this reckoning could not be more perfect. Kody has been making the media rounds, appearing on podcasts and talk shows, spinning his tale of woe to anyone who will listen. He has cried on camera during Special Forces, claiming he failed as a father and husband. He has launched what TLC is dramatically calling his apology tour, traveling to see his ex-wives with lists of things he supposedly wants to make right. On the surface, it looks like accountability. It looks like growth. It almost looks like the Kody Brown redemption arc we never thought we would see. But then his own children started talking. And what they revealed did not just contradict Kody's narrative. It completely demolished it. The same man who claims he constantly reaches out to his estranged kids got publicly called out by his own child for not making contact since their brother took his own life. The same man who insists he treated all his wives fairly got exposed through property records showing a multi-million-dollar mansion for one wife, while another lived in a trailer without running water. The same man who swears he was a good father got labeled a joke of a father by his own flesh and blood. This is not speculation, this is not gossip. This is documented evidence from court records, social media posts, and the very television show Kody agreed to film for 2 decades. He handed us the receipts himself, and now those receipts are proving he was never the victim he desperately wants us to believe he was. The rewritten history is falling apart, and what is emerging underneath is far more damning than anything we imagined. The single most devastating blow to Kody's victim narrative landed in November 2025, and it came from the last person he probably expected to speak out, Leon Brown. Meri's only child had been relatively quiet on social media for years. They had distanced themselves from the Sister Wives spotlight and seemed content to let the family drama play out without their commentary. But when Kody appeared on the Vile Files podcast and claimed he reaches out to every one of his children multiple times, Leon had finally heard enough. The response was swift, public, and absolutely brutal. Leon took to Instagram and did not hold back for even a second. They wrote that they had not heard from that man since their brother killed himself. Let that sink in for a moment. Garrison Brown passed away in March 2024, and according to Leon, Kody made zero effort to contact them in the nearly 20 months that followed. But it got worse. Leon also revealed that Kody blatantly blew them off at Garrison's funeral. A father ignoring his grieving child at the funeral of their sibling is not the behavior of a victim. It is the behavior of someone who cannot even perform basic human decency during the worst moment of his family's life. Leon did not stop there. They called Kody a liar directly and publicly. They said he was a joke of a father. These are not words you use lightly about your own parent. These are words born from years of disappointment, broken promises, and finally watching that parent lie to the world about reaching out when he never did. The fact that Leon did not even refer to him as dad speaks volumes about how fractured that relationship has become. Audrey Chris, Leon's spouse, backed up every word and confirmed that Kody's statements were verifiably not true. This single Instagram post did more damage to Kody's carefully crafted narrative than any tell-all episode ever could, because here was his own child with nothing to gain from speaking out, directly contradicting the story he had been selling to podcast hosts and morning show audiences. Kody wanted everyone to believe his children reject his attempts at reconciliation. He wanted sympathy for being a father whose kids refused to give him a chance. But Leon just proved that the outreach he brags about simply does not exist. The timing made it even more damning. Kody had just finished crying on Special Forces about his failures as a father. He had been doing interview after interview talking about how hard he tries to connect with his estranged children. And then Leon pulled the curtain back and showed the world what his efforts actually look like: silence. Absence. A grieving child ignored at their brother's funeral. The man who claims everyone turned against him for no reason just got exposed by his own kid for being exactly the absent father his critics always said he was. And this was only the beginning of the children speaking their truth. Leon was not the only Brown child ready to contradict their father's narrative. Once that door opened, it became clear that Kody's estranged children had been holding back for years, and they were done staying silent. Padon Brown confirmed on TikTok Live that the last time he had a physical conversation with his father was at Garrison's funeral. He refused to go into details about what happened, only saying it did not go the way it could have gone. That cryptic statement suggests the encounter was far from a loving father-son moment of shared grief. Whatever happened at that funeral, it was significant enough that Padon has not spoken to Kody since. Gabriel Brown's account might be the most revealing because it shows exactly how Kody approaches reconciliation. In an October 2024 episode, Gabe explained that when they did communicate, Kody kept framing it like Gabe owed him an apology. Think about that for a second. The father who abandoned his children emotionally, who chose one family over another during a pandemic, who screamed at their mother on camera, somehow believed his son needed to apologize to him. Gabe finally told his father that unless he was ready to actually have a relationship and fix things, they were done talking. What happened next perfectly encapsulates Kody's understanding of accountability. He texted Gabe a few days later and said he had been thinking about what Gabe said. Then he wrote that he forgives Gabe and asked Gabe to please forgive him. Gabe's response was immediate and justified. Forgive him for what exactly? Kody could not even name what he was apologizing for. He just wanted the reconciliation without doing any of the actual work. Gabe delivered an ultimatum that still stands today. He told his father that if Kody cannot change and cannot take accountability, then Gabe will never see him again, and he said he is perfectly okay with that outcome. The list of estranged children keeps growing. Maddie has not spoken to her father in significant time. Gwendolyn has been openly critical on social media and revealed damaging information about Kody and Robin's hypocrisy. Mykelti offered what might be the most constructive criticism when she said that instead of blaming the children or blaming gossip or blaming the other parents, Kody could simply admit he did something wrong and ask to talk about it. She said that would go such a long way, though he cannot do it. He cannot offer a genuine apology without qualifications. Janelle herself confirmed that 90 to 95% of Kody's 18 children are now estranged from him. That is not a statistic that happens to a victim. That is a statistic that happens to someone who systematically failed as a parent across multiple households and decades. When nearly all of your children independently reach the same conclusion about you, the common denominator becomes impossible to ignore. Kody wants to blame jealous ex-wives for poisoning his kids against him. But these are adults now, speaking for themselves, and they are all telling the same story. Kody's appearance on Special Forces World's toughest test in late 2025 seemed like the moment fans had been waiting for. Here was the man who had spent years deflecting blame, finally breaking down and admitting his failures. During the November 6th episode, Kody sobbed while confessing that he was the discrepancy. He said he should have had a stronger relationship with his children. He admitted his failures happened because he did not know anything about being a good dad and husband, even though he thought he did. It was raw. It was emotional. For a brief moment, it almost seemed genuine. The producers and his castmates witnessed a man apparently confronting his demons. Kody talked about how losing his family had broken him. He acknowledged his shortcomings in ways we had never heard before. Viewers who had waited nearly 2 decades for this kind of accountability allowed themselves a moment of cautious optimism. Maybe the experience of being pushed to his physical and mental limits had cracked through that impenetrable ego. Maybe Kody Brown was finally ready to take real responsibility for destroying his family. That optimism lasted exactly 13 days. On November 19th, Kody appeared on Good Day New York, and the mask came right back on. He explained that his tearful confession was really just a military-style approach to taking ownership. He said that even if you are only partly culpable, you say you are fully culpable because that is just how it works. Then came the reversal that surprised absolutely no one who has been watching this man operate for years. He declared that in all reality, the blame should be shared with his ex-wives. He insisted he cannot be the only one who is culpable, and that everybody else has to take responsibility too. There it was, the classic Kody Brown accountability two-step. First, you cry and admit everything is your fault when the cameras are rolling and sympathy is currency. Then you walk it back the moment you are in a different setting and clarify that actually everyone else is equally to blame. He did not even wait a full 2 weeks before contradicting himself. The tears that seemed so genuine were apparently just strategic vulnerability designed to rehabilitate his image. The admission that he failed as a father and husband came with an expiration date he never mentioned. This pattern defines Kody's entire relationship with accountability. He will say the words people want to hear in the moment that benefits him most, then immediately add qualifiers and redirections when the spotlight shifts. His ex-wives have seen this cycle countless times. His children have lived through promises that evaporated the second they became inconvenient. Special Forces did not change Kody Brown. It just gave him a new platform to perform remorse before reverting to his default setting of blame distribution. The man who sobbed about being the problem revealed within days that he still believes his ex-wives are equally responsible for everything that went wrong. Some things never change. When Christine announced she was leaving the family in November 2022, Kody's response revealed everything about how he truly viewed his third wife. He did not express sadness or reflect on what went wrong. Instead, he exploded with rage and shouted about the knife and the kidneys over all these years. He screamed about the sacrifices he made to love her and called those sacrifices wasted. In that moment, Christine's departure was not a tragedy to mourn, but a personal offense against him. He was the victim of her leaving, not the architect of her misery. But that knife in the kidneys comment carried a cruel irony that viewers immediately recognized. Christine and Kody's daughter Truly nearly died from kidney failure when she was just 3 years old. The little girl became severely dehydrated while Christine was out of town, and Kody left her in the care of teenage siblings while he stayed at Robin's house doing laundry. By the time Truly received medical attention, her kidneys were shutting down. She survived, but the trauma of that experience never fully left Christine. Kody himself admitted on camera that he believes Christine hates him partly because Truly almost died. So for him to invoke kidneys while raging at Christine was either breathtakingly tone-deaf or deliberately cruel. The cruelty did not stop there. Kody had already spent years making his lack of attraction to Christine painfully public. During the season 17 premiere, he stated flatly that he was not attracted to Christine when they got married and felt pressured into the marriage. At the tell-all, he elaborated that he was not attracted to her in any kind of physical sense and called that an understatement. Imagine hearing your husband of over 25 years tell millions of viewers he was never attracted to you. Christine later revealed that the other wives were horrified by his admission. This was the same man who famously said he was grossed out watching Christine eat nachos during an early tell-all episode. TLC tried to scrub that moment from existence, but fans remembered. They remembered because it was a symptom of something much larger. Kody showed more enthusiasm picking out Robin's wedding dress than he ever showed for his spiritual marriage to Christine. He withheld intimacy as punishment when Christine did not treat Robin the way he demanded. He made her feel disposable for years before she finally found the courage to leave. Yet somehow in Kody's retelling, he is the wounded party. Christine leaving was the knife in his kidneys. Her rejection of his attempts to merely tolerate her was the betrayal. The language he uses positions loyalty as a one-way street that flows directly to him. He gave and gave and gave, and she had the audacity to walk away. That narrative only works if you ignore the 19 seasons of documented emotional neglect, public humiliation, and calculated cruelty that preceded her departure. Christine did not stab Kody in the kidneys. She simply stopped letting him bleed her dry. Nothing exposed Kody's favoritism more clearly than his COVID-19 protocols, and the hypocrisy was staggering. While other family members were required to follow an extensive list of rules that included wiping down mail with alcohol, removing shoes outside, changing clothes after store visits, showering immediately upon returning home, and maintaining complete social isolation, Kody spent 15 consecutive months living exclusively with Robin. He barely visited his other wives, he missed holidays with children outside Robin's household, and he justified all of it by claiming everyone else was not following the rules strictly enough. Then Christine dropped the bombshell that destroyed his entire defense. She revealed on television that Robin had a nanny coming in and out of the house throughout the entire pandemic. While Janelle's sons were forbidden from seeing their father because they had girlfriends, while Christine's children were denied access to their dad, while Meri sat completely alone waiting for visits that never came, Robin had outside help entering her home regularly. The rules were never about safety. They were about choosing Robin while maintaining plausible deniability. Kody Brown added another layer to the hypocrisy when she revealed that of all her parents, she believed only Kody and Robin were unvaccinated. She found it deeply ironic considering everything that had been playing out on the show. The man who weaponized COVID protocols to avoid his other families apparently did not believe in the vaccine himself. The rules he enforced so strictly were not based on medical guidance he personally followed. They were a convenient excuse to do what he had wanted to do all along, which was live monogamously with his favorite wife. The fallout reached its peak when Kody refused to attend daughter Isabel's major scoliosis surgery. This was not a minor procedure. Isabel had suffered for years with a severe spinal curvature and finally needed surgical intervention. Christine begged Kody to be there for their daughter during one of the most frightening experiences of her young life. He refused, citing COVID risk and saying he felt like a hypocrite if he did not keep the rules. He sent his teenage daughter into surgery without her father present because following his arbitrary protocols mattered more than being there for his child. Meanwhile, Kody tried to evict Gabriel and Garrison from Janelle's home because they were dating and therefore posed a COVID risk. When Janelle purchased a fifth-wheel trailer to live on Coyote Pass land, hoping to see her husband more often, Kody refused to stay with her. He asked why he would sit there and suffer with her when the contrast between Janelle's trailer and Robin's house would be so significant. He actually said those words out loud. He acknowledged there was a massive disparity in living conditions between his wives, and instead of addressing that inequity, he used it as justification to stay exclusively in the comfortable mansion. The rules were never about safety, they were about control and preference, dressed up as concern. If Kody's words revealed his favoritism, the financial records confirmed it beyond any reasonable doubt. In October 2024, Kody and Robin purchased a 7,884 square foot mansion in Flagstaff for $2.1 million. The property features 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, a guest house, and space for 7 vehicles. They put down $420,000 and took out a mortgage for $1.68 million. This is where Kody lives with his favorite wife, while claiming he treated all his families equally. The contrast with how his other wives lived is absolutely damning. During this same period when Robin was enjoying her palatial estate, Janelle was boondocking in a fifth-wheel trailer on Coyote Pass land. She had no septic system, no running water, and no electricity. She lived there with her teenage daughter Savannah, roughing it on property the family supposedly purchased together. Christine revealed she had no money during her marriage and regularly had to put items back at the grocery store because she could not afford them. Madison Brown confirmed the children grew up poor despite their father's TLC fame. The financial trail gets even more infuriating when you trace where Robin's money actually came from. When the family sold their Las Vegas homes, Janelle specifically stated she gave half the proceeds from her house to Robin. Meri confirmed the same thing, saying when she sold her Vegas house, she gave the money to Robin so Robin could buy her Flagstaff home. That property was originally purchased for $890,000 using money from the other wives. It sold in November 2023 for nearly $1.8 million in cash. The other wives funded Robin's real estate investment, and she walked away with the profit. Janelle revealed she actually asked to have her name on the mortgage when they purchased Robin's first Flagstaff home. After all, her money was being used for the down payment. Kody told her no because they needed to protect Robin's estate. Let that sink in. Janelle contributed financially but was denied any legal claim to the property because protecting Robin's interests mattered more than treating his other wife fairly. The Coyote Pass land division tells the same story. Kody appeared on all 4 parcels of the property while Meri appeared on only 1. As a legally married couple, Kody and Robin controlled more than 10 of the property's 14 acres. When the land finally sold in April 25 for $1.5 million, Kody and Robin received approximately $750,000, while Meri and Janelle each received $375,000. Christine had already sold her parcel for just $10 simply to escape any further entanglement. A Reddit investigation even uncovered that Robin spent approximately $62,000 on doll-related items over 3 years on Etsy alone. The money flowed in one direction, and it always ended up with Robin. Meri Brown endured perhaps the longest and most calculated deception of any wife in this family. In 2014, she made the ultimate sacrifice for the good of the plural marriage. She legally divorced Kody so he could legally marry Robin and adopt her children from a previous relationship. This was not Meri's idea. It was presented as a necessary step to protect Robin's kids, and Meri agreed because she believed in the family. The unspoken promise was that Kody would eventually remarry her legally. That remarriage never happened. Then came the catfish scandal in 2015, when Meri was emotionally manipulated by someone online pretending to be a man interested in her. Kody seized on this moment as justification for withdrawing from their marriage entirely. Never mind that Meri was clearly lonely and seeking connection her husband refused to provide. Never mind that she had been emotionally abandoned long before she sought attention elsewhere. The catfish incident became the excuse Kody needed to stop trying altogether while still technically keeping Meri in the family. What makes this particularly cruel is how Kody strung her along with false hope for years afterward. During season 17, he told Meri that when they moved to Flagstaff, it would be a good time for a new beginning for them. He dangled the possibility of reconciliation in front of her face, but in the confessional from that same episode, he completely contradicted himself. He admitted the marriage was on the rocks the entire time and said he knew that because he had such better relationships with Janelle, Christine, and Robin. He was telling Meri one thing privately while confessing the opposite to cameras. His most shocking admission came during a look-back special when Kody revealed his true motivation for pursuing polygamy in the first place. He said divorce was not an option in his world, so diluting the relationship was the only choice he had. He admitted he pursued additional wives partly because he needed to escape spending all his time with Meri. He married more women not to expand his family with love but to create distance from his first wife. Meri was devastated when she heard this, saying he led her to believe he would work on things before suddenly declaring he did not consider himself married to her anymore. Season 20 brought one final betrayal. During the Coyote Pass sale negotiations, Kody and Robin attempted to make Meri sign a confidentiality agreement. When she refused, Kody blamed her for slowing down the entire process and called her the problem. Meri stated it broke her heart that it came to this and that she never thought these people would try to do this to her. After 30-plus years of loyalty, after sacrificing her legal marriage so Robin could have protection, after waiting patiently through a decade of rejection, Meri was treated like an adversary who needed to be legally silenced. The woman who gave everything to this family got nothing but manipulation in return. Robin Brown has mastered the art of positioning herself as a victim while collecting every benefit of the family's collapse. Her role in enabling Kody's rewritten history is not passive. She actively participates in crafting the narrative that shields them both from accountability while ensuring she remains the sole recipient of his attention, resources, and loyalty. The evidence is overwhelming, and it starts with how she responds to even the possibility of reconciliation. When a producer asked Robin during season 20 how she would feel if one of the ex-wives ever wanted to return to the family, her response was telling. She became visibly emotional and said hope is a dangerous thing sometimes. She claimed the question opened a little portal of hope she had never considered. But this performance makes no sense when examined closely. Robin knows Janelle cannot stand her. She knows Christine has moved on completely. She knows Meri was pushed out after decades of loyalty. There is no universe where any of these women voluntarily return to being her sister wife. So why the tears about hope? The answer is strategic positioning. By appearing devastated about the family's fracture, Robin maintains her image as someone who wanted plural marriage to work. She gets to seem heartbroken while living in a mansion with the husband she no longer has to share. She claims to feel gaslit by some family members, casting herself as a victim of their perception rather than acknowledging her role in creating that perception. When confronted about favoritism at tell-all episodes, she either refuses to answer or offers vague denials despite mountains of documented evidence. The financial reality tells the true story of who benefited from this family's destruction. Robin is the only wife who ever had childcare assistance, including a nanny during the pandemic, while strict visitation rules kept other families apart. When she entered the family, she brought over $32,000 in credit card debt from her first marriage. That debt was paid using income from Janelle and Meri, who were the primary breadwinners at the time. The other wives literally funded Robin's fresh start. Her spending habits reveal where family resources actually went. That Reddit investigation uncovering approximately $62,000 spent on Etsy for doll-related items over 3 years painted a picture of financial priorities completely misaligned with a family supposedly struggling to build on Coyote Pass. In 2023, Kody reportedly gave Robin's children $849 Coleman mini bikes for Christmas while ignoring his other children entirely. The favoritism extended to every aspect of family life, and Robin was always on the receiving end. She does not have to actively villain in every scene. Her power comes from silent acceptance of advantages she claims not to want. Every tear about the broken family rings hollow when she is living in millions of dollars worth of real estate funded by women who sacrificed for a plural marriage. Robin ultimately dismantled. She is not a co-victim with Kody. She is the co-architect of a narrative designed to protect them both. Kody's season 20 apology tour was supposed to be his redemption arc, but the details reveal it as yet another performance designed to rehabilitate his image rather than repair his relationships. His own words exposed the limitations before he even began. He admitted his heart is not soft enough to apologize to Christine or Meri yet. He explained he was starting with Janelle because there is so much less toxicity and so much less for him to forgive. Even his apology tour centers his own feelings about what he needs to forgive his ex-wives for. To Janelle, he offered specific admissions. He acknowledged he was not man enough to make her feel safe in their marriage. He admitted he had been bitter and angry for years about the breakup. He confessed that his infamous claim of never loving his ex-wives was not true and called it a lie spoken from pain. Janelle received received these words with cautious acceptance, saying she kept thinking she did not know who this person was anymore. The man making public statements for years was unrecognizable to the woman who spent decades married to him. Christine's response cut straight to the heart of why this apology tour feels hollow. She said when Kody fixes his relationships with his kids, that is when she will accept his apology. She told him to take care of his children, reach out to them, call them, and spend time working on those relationships first. Only then could they discuss an apology. She assessed his on-camera remorse as something he did for himself, not for her. Actions have to happen, she insisted, not just words. Paydon's revelation about what happened behind the scenes confirms Christine's skepticism. After what seemed like a genuine reconnection phone call with his father, Paydon discovered the real motivation. Kody was actually trying to get TLC to add contract clauses preventing his children from speaking negatively about him on social media. Christine reportedly shut that down immediately, telling Kody he was not allowed to dictate what their children can say about him. He has to earn their love back. Paydon's conclusion was devastating. He realized his father did not call because he wanted to talk to him. He called because he wanted to control the narrative. That is the through line connecting every piece of evidence in this story. Kody Brown does not want reconciliation. He wants reputation management. He does not want accountability. He wants the appearance of accountability without any meaningful change. 19 seasons of documented footage contradict nearly every claim he makes about being a devoted father and fair husband. His own children call him a liar. Property records expose the financial favoritism he denies. His ex-wives have exposed the manipulation they endured for decades. The receipts exist. The footage is archived. The children remember everything. Whatever version of events Kody constructs for podcasts and television, the documented truth remains searchable, quotable, and absolutely irrefutable. Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you will not want to miss what is coming next.